scarred by war, cursed by famine, blighted with piracy, and with no effective government for over 20 years, Somalia and its capital Mogadishu have the sort of problems that would seem almost beyond solution. Transworld Sport made the visit to Mogadishu recently for a series of reports from one of the most dangerous cities in the world. Since the overthrow of President Siad Barre in 1991, there's been vicious fighting between rival warlords for control of the capital. And coupled with the continuing war against the Islamist militants of Al-Shabaab, almost 500,000 people have lost their lives. American attempts to intervene here in the early 90s ended in failure. There were scenes of downed US Black Hawk helicopters surrounded by militiamen. Recent droughts have led to famine and forced hundreds of thousands of people to flee the Somali countryside. They've settled in the refugee camps of Mogadishu. For the international community, Mogadishu has become a no-go zone. Yet Somalia boasts one of the most beautiful coastlines in the world. Mogadishu's white sandy beaches were once popular with European tourists. But the bitter and bloody conflict has left its only five-star hotel a bombed-out shell. The once busy beaches are now deserted. A 10,000-strong African Union force, spearheaded by Uganda, has been in Mogadishu since 2007, with the aim of gradually increasing the transitional federal government's control of the city. Many here believe that the removal of the Al-Shabaab insurgents from the city would offer the chance for normal life to return to Mogadishu. Paddy Nkunde is a spokesman for the African Union's peacekeeping force.
There is still a lot to be done. It's true that there is a sense of security returning, but I think it's not time to take that for granted, because the Al-Shabaab still control some territories in the country. So we need to make sure that the government can regain authority in those areas. I think there is hope that in the next couple of years, this country will be on the right footing.
Unsurprisingly, sporting pursuits are not high on the list of priorities here. And sport in Somalia suffered a tragic blow only a few weeks ago, when an Al-Shabaab bomb attack in Mogadishu killed the heads of the Somali Olympic Committee and the Football Association. Like in most African countries, football is the most popular sport in Somalia. A privately funded initiative in Mogadishu is seeking to give former child soldiers a new lease of life. At the Elman Peace and Human Rights Center, over 300 youngsters are given vocational training to enable them to find work in the city. There's also a strong emphasis on sport. Children who a few months ago had faced each other on different sides of the conflict now play together on the football field.
Everything that we teach the children here is good for their future. For most of them, they didn't know that they could even have a future. So it's a great achievement for those who can come here to the center to learn. They can gain important skills, which they can use for the rest of their lives.
In the past, I was part of a government militia group, gathering food and finding equipment for them. A while ago, I became responsible for another child. So I needed a direction in my life. I needed a more solid and stable life. This program gives me that. It shows me how to learn a new skill and get some form of education. It would be great if I could be responsible for myself and earn my own money one day.
Somalia has not played an international football match at home for over 20 years. The national team is currently ranked 191st out of 205 countries in the FIFA World Rankings. The Somali League is comprised of teams based just in Mogadishu. The Somali Police Club finished third last season and have a number of national team players in their squad, including Mahat Mohammed Haji.
We used to have more stadiums in the country, but they were all demolished in the war. In the Mogadishu area, we are left with just 3. Only 2 have been reopened, and the other one still remains closed due to fighting in the area. I would like to see new stadiums built, so that we can start to reclaim our rightful position in African football.
Somalia have struggled to make any sort of impact on the continental stage over the years. But the hope is that with grants from FIFA, the game will gradually develop here. Awil Ismail Mohammed is a member of the Somali FA.
We are working with FIFA towards building sports facilities for our youth development programme. The plan should be put into place sometime this year, but we are all still in talks. So there have been no decisions made on what exactly will happen. But I remain positive. You have to. Something good will happen to the football here in the future, and that will be great for the national team, and indeed, the nation as a whole.
As for other sports here, basketball also enjoys widespread popularity. The removal of Al-Shabaab from certain areas of Mogadishu has restored a lot more freedom to the city's women. As a result, the women's national basketball team has been able to train again. They practice on Mogadishu's one and only basketball court.
There are not many women playing sports here. At the moment, there are only 4 women's basketball teams. In the past, there were more women's teams, but that was a long time ago. Yes, there is fear amongst the women who play sports, but on the other hand, I would promote it as a healthy way of life. We all need hobbies, and it's good to have something like this to focus on.
The Somali women's national team recently returned from the Arab Games in Qatar to a hero's welcome and an official reception with the city's mayor. In Doha, they managed to beat both the hosts and Kuwait in their group games. After the tournament, several of the team's leading players received offers to switch nationality and play professionally in Qatar. But all have chosen to stay in Somalia. They want to achieve what they can in the sport based in their homeland.
Basketball is a good sport for us because it is a team sport and it keeps us together. In the past, we had problems with the militants, but I always loved basketball. It was my passion. Now, I'm just happy to be at home and have somewhere to be able to play my sport.
There's still a long way to go before the world's most dangerous city is able to afford its people the same level of peace and security to live and play sport that the rest of the world takes for granted. But there is at last a genuine sense of optimism about the future.